Welcome to Rise a Change with me, Frank Omalape from Abuja Studios. The France-Nigeria Business Forum has taken place in Paris, bringing together a melting pot of people, politics and professional services during the same time President Bola Tinubu is visiting France. Well, panel discussions on how best to harness more collaboration across agriculture, raw and solid minerals technology dominated today's event. President of the France-Nigeria Business Council, Aigbuje Aikimokwede, who has been a force behind the coming together of top Nigerian talent in France, says there is far more to come. A sentiment echoed by Nigeria's federal government, both Wale Edo and Jumoke Oduwole, Minister of Finance and Industry, Trade and Investment, respectively, who say this event is coming at a pivotal time for Nigeria's continued development.
As we all know, Nigeria has undertaken major macroeconomic reforms, which in a nutshell have removed subsidies that were costing 5% of GDP, of around $20 billion a year of lost value to the economy, to the federal government's purse, and of course to its fiscal position. Having done that, an important aspect of that whole process of, in fact, the market pricing of petroleum products versus having a huge subsidy on petroleum products is that there is domestic refining of crude. For the first time in about 3 decades, we now have domestic refining of crude, and it's by the private sector, by the Dangote Petrochemical Refining Company. In addition, also, government refineries are now coming back on stream. That is giving a basis for market pricing of petroleum products. That's one, but also it is providing industrial raw materials. So we are re-energizing that step and also rejuvenating, I would say, that move towards industrialization, to making the economy more complex, for providing raw materials for industry, for the chemicals industry, for the paints industry, for textiles industry, for the plastics industry, and so on and so forth. And of course, for agriculture, through provision of or production of fertilizer. So these attempts and this opportunity to add value to Nigerian production, domestic production, is critical. It's critical for foreign direct investors who, as much as possible, assuming that they even import the machinery, would like to have domestic sourcing of raw materials. And with the other reforms that we have in Nigeria now, particularly the foreign exchange market that now has market pricing of foreign exchange, and also easy supply of foreign exchange, providing for entry and exit of foreign investors, dividends, and even their capital if they so wish. On that basis, we now have a basis for manufactured exports. We have the African Continental Trade Agreement that is facilitating continental trade in Africa. And so Nigeria is now a competitive place in which to produce for export of manufactures across West Africa, across the whole of Africa, and indeed beyond that. So these are the opportunities that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's bold and courageous reforms have now provided a platform for private investment to take advantage of.
This trip has been a very good one. I say that advisedly. It's been a very concrete discussion. You know, you can have state visits and sometimes it's a lot of speaking, but we have practical outcomes that has come out of this. We focused on agriculture, we focused on solid minerals, we focused on support with standards. We're trying to push our exports. Nigeria is France's biggest trading partner in Africa and vice versa. France is Nigeria's biggest trading partner in the EU. And so we're just looking at where the synergies are. We're clear on what our requests are. France is an export-led economy, which is the direction that Nigeria wants to go. We want to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. We want to have market access into the EU. And for that, for those two things, we need our standards to be upped. So partnering with French companies, inviting French companies to come and set up in Nigeria, and through that have re-exports into other markets, helping with standards, helping with export-led trade facilitation. Those are the kinds of areas concretely we've been looking at. We've looked at trade policy, investment policy discussions, concretizing that. We signed a couple of MOUs in mining, in culture. We'd like nice museums in Nigeria as well. We'd like to build on French expertise in cinematography. We also talked about agriculture. I've mentioned agriculture before, and manufacturing. Financial services. Zenith Bank opened a branch just on Wednesday. Access Bank has been here in partnership. It's been going well. We signed the UBA on as well. So Nigerian financial services have been more vibrant, which leads me to the last point, our technology space, technology and energy. I'll talk about technology first. French companies have been more interested in the vibrant technology space that is Nigeria. We thrive in services. This is where we're competitive. And so it's a delight that French companies are taking interest in that. For energy, Total has been leading on that, investing 10 billion in new energy in Nigeria. So we're committed to making sure that we continue along that line. So with energy, with technology, with manufacturing, with agriculture, and with solid minerals, we're determined to make sure that concrete outcomes. And what next? Because this wasn't just a talk shop. Mr. President is clear, and my marching orders as Minister of Trade and Investment is clear. Tracking these trips. What comes out of it, speaking with the companies who are interested, following up with my counterparts, and making sure that we have concrete, trackable, empirical data and outcomes and impact from these trips.